I used to dream about showing the world what I dream about. Forget a mic, my whole life I thought it'd be the mouth. I guess it's fitting how life threw me the curveball. Pops told me work till you make it, man, then work more. I guess I took that to heart, cause I've been working harder now than I...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, another episode of Mom's Basement. Here with you again, Joe, Corey. Corey, say what's up.
What's up, guys?
We're back and better than ever, as we usually are on these days where we shoot this. I don't want to break the fourth wall right off the jump, so I didn't say what day it is.
Alrighty.
But we're going to get right into it today. We got Bulls, we got Bears, we got a little bit of fantasy football, not a lot of baseball. I'm used to saying a lot of baseball because normally the bulk of this has been baseball. But the bulk of this today is going to be NBA and NFL and me being right about things that I knew I was right about this whole time. And Corey is just going to keep reiterating to you that I am indeed right.
We'll see about that.
All right, we're going to get into it here. We got Chicago Bulls. And Corey, this is one of the things that I was talking about 15 seconds ago. I was right. Everybody else was wrong. But you were on my side. Bulls 13-13, 6 games back here in the Central Division. Currently out of the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference. I believe it's the percentage points because everybody 3 through 10 is basically a game and a half out in between each other. So I had the Bulls pegged as a 7 or 8 seed coming into the season. I again would not have been surprised if I would have said they will miss the playoffs because they're just not a good team. They're not good anywhere. We saw the epitome of that last night. They scored 69 points against the Bucks in the entire game. 69 points.
So, just so we're a little clear on how close the Eastern Conference standings are, you've got the Cavaliers and the Raptors, who both have 18 wins up top, and then the number 3 seed Celtics are 14-12. Going all the way down the list of the Eastern Conference standings, the 11 seed Wizards are 11-14. So everybody is about 2.5 games separated from each other in the playoff race, if you want to call it that, in the East, even though there's only one team coming out of the East, and that's Cleveland Cavaliers.
And the Raptors can give them a series. They can give them, 5 or 6 game series. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that should be an entertaining Eastern Conference Finals, but ultimately it will be the Cavaliers, the NBA Finals come June.
So we're not too sure what the Bulls are doing. I mean, they're trying to tout this big three of Rajon Rondo, Dwayne Wade, and Jimmy Butler.
Does that not hurt people to say? It hurts me to hear that. Rajon Rondo in a big three. Jimmy Butler is not a superstar, has never been a superstar. And Dwayne Wade is old as dirt. I mean, the guy's knees are done.
I mean, we've talked about this. In any big three, Jimmy Butler should be number 3.
2 at best.
2 at best, but in a really good one, he should be 3.
Yes, and, the leader of Stu Gott's Entertainment, I won't say his real name, just to keep appearances up, but Stu Gott's Entertainment, look them up on SoundCloud if you want to hear what they're about. But he's trying to tell me the Bulls they're studs. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to win at least one round in the playoffs. Butler's going to average 27, 7, 5, and shoot 50% from the field. And I'm crazy. I need to stop riding the Cleveland bandwagon, the Toronto bandwagon. All I see is what's put in front of me, and those are facts. The Bulls, garbage. Fred Hoiberg, garbage. Garin Pax, garbage. Jerry Reinsdorf, Garbage. It's all garbage. Like, there's no way they're winning one round in the playoffs.
No.
Not a chance.
I mean, we were talking about this before, too, how we think that the Tom Thibodeau-led Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win a title before the Chicago Bulls do. That's just how bad the Bulls are right now.
And you look at that, well, the Timberwolves have a worse record than the Bulls.
Yeah.
Well, the Timberwolves have 3 guys who are 21 who average 20 points a game, and they're gonna be molded together by Thibs. And they're going to become a great team. And odds are they're going to get another top pick this year, and that's just another star to come in. This is how the NBA works. That means they'll have 4 very high draft picks that they've used. And then we haven't even really seen what Chris Dunn can do.
No, not yet.
So, I mean, that's just another kid they drafted this year. So,
and then that brings us right into, tanking.
Tank. This is how you win in the NBA. It's very easy. You lose a lot of games. You draft a very good player. And then you wait, you get a couple role players, sign guys here and there, and then you wait for that big free agent class, and you sign the big ticket item, which is something the Bulls have not been able to do, really. I mean, 2010 was it when Wade was originally supposed to come here?
Under Tibbs, they tried. They had the MVP candidate in Derrick Rose, he won the MVP that year, and they tried to get LeBron, they tried to get Bosh, they tried to get
Melo at one point. I don't know what year.
Well,
it was.
2010 wasn't Melo, but they tried to get the big 3 that ended up in Miami. At least one of them they struck out, ended up with Carlos Boozer, and they tried. They tried.
Go get him, Joe.
And then they tried to bring in Carmelo to pair with
Yes.
Jimmy Butler, and what was left of Derrick Rose. But Melo eventually took the money and ended up in New York. So, yeah, the Bulls haven't been doing it the right way, and they're still not doing it the right way. A 500 team that makes the playoffs is far worse off than a team that wins, 30 games, 25 games, and gets the number one pick in the draft.
Yes, and I mean, now, at the end of the season, I fully expect Fred Hoiberg to be out of a job.
God, I hope so.
And I really hope that they finally get rid of Gar and Pax. I thought they would have done it by now. I sent my resume.
I mean, the thing is, have you seen how loyal Jerry Reinsdorf is to certain people, like, Kenny Williams?
He's hurting he was hurting two Chicago teams.
Yeah.
Now he's only really hurting one Chicago team.
Oh, we can hope.
I mean, at least that's what it looks like to me, and I know you too.
Yeah, because he hangs on to Kenny Williams. He hung on to Robin for too long, and he's doing the same thing with the Bulls with Gar, Pax, and
they've run their course.
They think Fred Hoiberg's their guy, and Fred Hoiberg is not a good NBA coach.
Go back to college.
Yep, there we
sure
go.
Iowa State will take you back.
Yeah,
Well, you never know.
Okay.
All right, so what do we want to talk about next here? Oh yes, Nerlens Noel. He's complaining about his minutes in Philadelphia. I think he's getting 9 minutes a game.
It was less than that.
Less than 9 minutes a
no,
game.
No, it was exactly 9. You're right.
9?
You're right.
Okay. So he was once a high draft pick, Kentucky. Had the flat top. It's gone now, which is a sad thing. I really dig the flat top. But he's complaining about his minutes. He wants more. He wants to play more. He wants to be in the action. And I'm looking at the Bulls, and I see like Robin Lopez and Todd Gibson and Feliciano, or however you say that guy's name. No, I like Nerlens Noel better than all three personally. What are his per 36 averages, Corey?
Yeah, so for the people who don't know, when a guy isn't getting adequate minutes, like Nerlens Noel is not, to adequately assess his game, you take his stats that he's getting in that certain amount of time, and you do the math to 36 minutes per game, and just sort of extrapolate those stats. So he's averaging right now 5 points and 2.5 rebounds per game in 9 minutes. So if you were to do his per 36 numbers, he's averaging 20 and 10 per game. So you might not be able to say that those numbers are uniform throughout, but you know what? He would be more entertaining to watch than a Robin Lopez.
He's got a lot of athleticism. He really understands how to play defense, which is something you really need in the paint down there. I think he's 6'11", so he's got some size, and I mean.
And he's young.
Yeah, he's young. He can still run the floor really well. He's great in transition. I mean, his offense needs work, yes, but he can get boards like crazy and lock down the middle, which is really that's what you should look for in a center, unless you're looking at DeMarcus Cousins or Karl Anthony Towns, who are guys that are just going to score 20, 30 points a game and get a ton of
And that's what the Bulls should be doing. They should be, leading into our next point, trading who you can get rid of and just getting young players, see what you get from them, see how you work with them. All these big names like Nerlens Noel, who is a number one player coming out of college. And if they don't work out, guess what? You're really bad and you get a high draft pick and you start the process the right way. So when we talk about trading Jimmy Butler, that's relieving salary, and that is freeing up spot for younger players to work while Jimmy Butler can be on a team that contends.
Now, I wanted to ask you, if you're the GM right now of the Chicago Bulls, are you calling people and asking if they would want Jimmy Butler?
Of course. I mean, in the NBA, the most you would get back for him, you'd probably get like a plethora of first-round picks and things like that, which is fine because that's more young talent you're bringing in, and you can work around the draft with more first-round picks. But ultimately, what it's doing big picture-wise is making your team a lot worse in the moment, so that in the future you can acquire high picks and then get the superstar talent.
Right. Now, over the summer, when they were kind of starting this whole thing where we're going to trade Rose, we're going to let Noah walk, we're going to do all this stuff, I was the guy that was saying, if you trade Derek, you trade Jimmy with him.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't make sense to get rid of one and not get rid of the other. Like, it doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't.
I'm not a math major.
You're not.
This is sports math, and it doesn't add up. I can do sports math. So basically what you're saying is we're going to go half in. We're going to sign 2 veteran guards. We're going to bring them in with Jimmy. We're going to try to win 40 games. And we're going to try to sneak into the playoffs and hope the fans are like, we made the playoffs. That's a success. It's not a success. If you're not building to win a title, Why are we watching you? Why are we spending money to go to your
And
games?
see, the thing is with the NBA, it's different than other sports to where making the playoffs doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Because 16 teams make the playoffs. There are 30 teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
So over half the league makes the playoffs. That's nothing like football or baseball that you can view as an accomplishment in making the playoffs. You need to have a legitimate shot at winning a title on a yearly basis. And you know what? We've talked about it on previous shows. There's maybe 4 teams who we think can win the title this year, and only 1 from the East.
Yeah.
So the Bulls need to. If you're asking me if they should have traded Jimmy Butler, I think you should have traded him to Minnesota when
you had
those
the
rumors
chance.
were going around on draft day for Chris Dunn. But you know what? I would get rid of Jimmy Butler for whatever you can get for him and move on.
Boy, would Thibs love to have Jimmy Butler on his team
Oh,
right now.
yeah.
A guy who knows how to play some defense.
Yeah.
Well, once he has the chance to really just mold those 3 young players into the ability to play team defense, because they like to play one-on-one defense instead of playing as a team, because they've never had to play defense before. They've just been able to outplay everybody with pure athleticism, talent, score more than them. Now in the NBA, they have to learn how to play defense. And Levine, Wiggins, and Towns are all young, 21-year-old kids who score 20 points a game.
Yep.
Like, if you added Jimmy Butler to that mix, you're looking solid with Ricky Rubio, a guy who just facilitate around to every player you have. I just squeaked. Wow.
You're all right.
Wow.
I wasn't going to point it out.
Wow. I'll point it out myself. That hasn't happened in a while. All right. So, yeah. Looking back at Nerlens Noel, what do you think the Bulls would have to give up in just a hypothetical package for him?
I mean, they're really low on him right now.
Yeah.
I don't know where it starts, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm trying to think. I mean, he's playing 5 minutes a game. What sort of value can you even...
I would honestly trade Taj Gibson and a draft pick. Todd, I believe, is a free agent after this season.
Yeah, I mean, if it fits under their cap, I can see that working.
They don't have any money on that team.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would have said something like a future first-round pick or 2. I mean, again, it's...
I just don't like Taj.
Well, I know you don't like Taj,
Yeah, no, I
but
hate Taj.
Noel, they don't like Noel. So his value isn't ultimately that high. And if
So you're saying a draft pick 3 or 4 years down the road?
Yeah, you know how the NBA does one. Those future first-round picks. I mean, you give him a couple of those, or if you feel like you can get rid of Taj, then get rid of Taj for him, because if you trade for Noel and Taj are still here, Taj is going to eat his minutes.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be getting much more than the 5
Which
minutes
was my
per
thought
game
in the whole
anyway.
thing, yeah, trade
So
Taj.
yeah, if you were to trade Taj and a pick for him, I mean, he can get Taj's minutes and then try to develop as a Bull.
Sure. All right, let's move to the NFL. We had some big news coming out of Minnesota this week. Adrian Peterson is going to play this week against the Colts, coming back after really tearing up his knee, I believe it was. We're correct? His
Yeah.
knee? Yeah. All right, so what's the impact on fantasy football this week? It's the playoffs, second week of the playoffs for some, unless you have a really big playoffs where everybody makes it. Then it's like the third week of the playoffs. So this could potentially make or break someone's run in a playoff race.
I mean, right now, you never want to count out the great ones for making an instant impact when they come back, especially when you saw what he did coming off of an ACL injury.
Right.
But right now, he's probably, you could start him as a flex. I feel like he's going to get a heavy load of the carries, but I don't know how effective you're going to see him being. I mean, he's going to get the goal line carries because he's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
So I think he can, put up decent numbers and get a touchdown this week.
Sure.
And you'll take that out of a flex spot for sure until you can see what he's worth.
Yeah, I think it's a crowded backfield for sure. You've still got Asiata, you've still got McKinnon. They're not going to give him 30 carries, obviously.
No, that doesn't
I
happen.
mean, no, unless you're Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
who
unless you're
just put every team. Everybody who had him. They just put him on his back last week. But I think it's a crowded backfield, sure, but the matchup is really good. The Colts don't play defense. Like they don't know what defense is. So I think if you start him in your flex, it's a pretty safe bet. You're going to get 10, 12 points out of him in a standard scoring league. So I think it's a pretty safe play, honestly. And if he was on your waiver wire this week and you just snatched him up for somebody who didn't hold on to him in your league, sure, you'll take that anytime. All right. Let's move on. The Chicago Bears.
Alrighty.
Your pride and joy. Your favorite team.
Yeah, they're a little embarrassing right now.
That's okay. I mean,
It's all right.
I want to take this time to go ahead and evaluate Ryan Pace's job.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were talking before the show about Ryan Pace. I love what Ryan Pace has done, and you know what? I think you haven't seen the impact yet as quickly as you thought you would. I mean, we both picked the Bears to be 9-7 and 10-6 respectively
Correct.
at the start of the season, and ultimately what I think of when I think of a coach and a GM puts a good team together on paper, and a coach is the team that needs to make it all happen. I think Ryan Pace put together a good team on paper, and the offensive coaching hasn't really been there, combined with the fact they have the most injuries in the NFL. The only mistake Ryan Pace has made to me so far was his first pick ever, and that was taking Kevin White at 7 overall. I think that was the same draft that Marcus Peters was available.
Todd Gurley was available.
If I'm not mistaken, well, Todd Gurley ain't.
He's not looking good right now.
Yeah, so they could have drafted somebody else instead of Kevin White, but after that, he got Eddie Goldman, Adrian Amos, who I think is a very good starting strong safety, not a free safety. He drafted Leonard Floyd this year, signed Pernell McPhee, Jarrell Freeman, Danny Trevathan. I think
that's a solid linebacker.
I think the Kevin White the Kevin White drafting is the only mistake he's made so far.
I agree. I think Kevin White, I said it from the day they drafted him, I didn't like him, one-hit wonder in college. He's going to be a bust.
Mm-hmm.
So far, I've been right.
Yeah, I mean, he's been injured, and that counts as a bust if you can't stay on the field.
Correct. And you look at what he's done deep in the drafts. Yeah, you have to look at the fifth-round picks.
Jordan Howard.
And Jordan Howard. Those have both been fifth-round picks.
Jordan Howard's numbers are, like, per attempt and breaking tackles are comparable to that of Ezekiel Elliott.
Why are they not getting him the ball?
Imagine what his numbers would be like if he wasn't getting only 13 carries a game, and if Jeremy Langford wasn't the starter for the first 4 weeks of the year, or however long it was. I mean,
that right there is emphasizing how bad their offensive coaching is. The fact that this guy's just tearing it up and he's getting 15 carries a game.
He's 31 yards away from 1,000, so he'll get that this week, I'm sure, versus the Packers. But yeah, if he had been starting the entire year, you would have his name at the same level as Ezekiel Elliott. And I feel like he is at that level of Ezekiel Elliott, given the bad offensive line talent compared to what the Cowboys have. Jordan Howard's a damn good football player.
He's still not going to win Rookie of the Year. That's still
that's going to go to
Zeke or Dak.
Yeah,
one of them.
But you know what? Howard's putting up comparable numbers to Elliott, and you know what? I don't think as a Bears fan, when considering Elliott was taken the 4th pick overall and Jordan Howard was a 5th round pick, yeah, Ryan Pace did good there.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if it's him or it's his scouting team, whatever he's doing. You would hope he would keep doing it in drafts to come because the late round picks for him have been.
And even in free agency too, he's not overpaying these people. I mean, he got Jarrell Freeman, who was the best defender on the Colts last year, for $4 million.
Yeah, that's a steal.
And until he got suspended, Freeman was leading the league in tackles. I mean, Jarrell Freeman's a good football player, and Ryan Pace, outside of Kevin White, if this offseason, I feel like if they were to either fire Ryan Pace or bring in somebody like a Bill Polian, who we're going to talk about, as like a mentor for Ryan Pace, I think that would be a bad idea. I think you need to look at the coaching staff more so than the general manager.
I think Ryan Pace needs to kind of go and get his own guy to be his head coach. I don't think John Fox is really his guy. I believe they hired an outside team to really help them find a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, John Fox isn't going to be the coach of this team, I feel, when they get to a playoff berth or make a Super Bowl or run or anything like that. I mean, John Fox is a good coach. He's a good defensive mind, but, they got Vic Fangio on the staff, who is really doing a great job with the defense. The Bears' defense is actually ranked 7th in the league overall, so a legitimate top 10 defense, which is nice. But, I don't think John Fox should be the head coach. I feel like Adam Gase would have been a good replacement for John Fox, but, Adam Gase took off for Miami. So.
Is there anybody that comes to your mind when you look at this offseason that you would say, all right, I want Fox gone and I want this guy in? Anybody that pops into your head?
Honestly, the number one name is Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
I would not mind promoting Vic Fangio to be our head coach and making the defensive backs coach Ed Donatel the defensive coordinator, because Vic Fangio's been around in this league for a long time, and he knows how to coach. He knows how to coach up a defense. It really depends on who his offensive hiring is going to be. Just like whenever you promote these coordinators to head coaching positions, you need to know, okay, so defense is your specialty. Who are you bringing in to coach the offense? Mm-hmm. That's the first question I'm asking if I'm Ryan Pace interviewing Vic Fangio, especially coupled with the rumors that Vic Fangio may be leaving for a higher position as like a head coach at one of these places. John Fox is a temporary fix. I feel like Vic Fangio might be a temporary fix, but I think Vic Fangio is a better coach than John Fox.
All right, Corey. So we hinted at it a little bit before, but there was a rumor that the Chicago Bears were talking to Bill Polian a Hall of Fame executive. We know he was with the Colts for some time. To come in, be like an advisor for the Bears, kind of above Ryan Pace, like come in training camp, evaluate some stuff, just give tips to ownership, stuff like that, in a senior advisor role. What are your thoughts?
Ryan Pace hasn't done anything too drastic to where you need to bring in a Bill Polian. I think Ryan Pace needs to bring in his own guys, bring in his own scouts. I don't think he needs anybody above him to direct him. Ryan Pace has made maybe one bad draft pick so far, and his free agent signings have been perfectly fine. He's putting the team in the right direction. I don't think you need a Bill Polian. I think Bill Polian is just another distraction for Ryan Pace.
I kind of disagree with you.
All right.
Like, I don't hate Ryan Pace. I think he's done a really good job. But I don't see how your team could go, like, on a downward spiral, down at all, if you're bringing a guy like Bill Polian. Like, he's not going to be making decisions. Like, Ryan Pace will still be able to go about doing his job every single day.
Well, you just said that Bill Polian would be above Ryan Pace.
An advisor to the team.
Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't put Bill Polian in charge, and here's why. Bill Polian, the success he had in Indianapolis, that was tied to Peyton Manning.
Sure.
And Tony Dungy. And you know what? Peyton Manning is one draft pick. Peyton Manning is the best quarterback of all time, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and a team without Peyton Manning, the way it was constructed, that team wasn't good when Peyton Manning sat out for the entire year with his neck injury. They were what, a 1-win team, 2-win team? I get that Bill Polian has a track record of success, and yes, he's made many playoff appearances and many Super Bowl appearances, but he got a good quarterback in there in Peyton Manning.
They had a lot of good weapons on offense with Peyton Manning. Adrian James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, a lot of guys there.
Yeah, and you know what? He didn't do a good job of building up a defense for Peyton Manning at points during that time.
They've got a defense right now, the Bears do.
So you would bring in Bill Polian for what?
To help? Help.
Does Ryan Pace need help?
Maybe.
Ryan Pace.
What bad could come of it? Ryan Pace, he's going to help Ryan Pace, 100%. And who says he even talks to Ryan Pace directly? Maybe he just throws.
So what's he there for?
Throw a tip here and there. Maybe I think this is a good move. Maybe I think this is a good move. Maybe I don't think this is a good move.
So if he's not talking to Ryan Pace, what is he there for?
Talk to ownership. Ownership relays the message.
The only front office change I see the Bears needing to make is maybe putting somebody in Ted Phillips' place who is actually a football guy.
Phillips. Oh.
If you were to put a football guy in there, then that'd be fine. But I don't think you need to have Bill Polian standing over Ryan Pace, because Ryan Pace has done nothing to warrant that.
Okay.
My opinion.
Okay. I don't think Bill Polian would do anything bad. Like, would harm Ryan Pace, would keep Ryan Pace from doing his job.
But it's just another voice in the room that I don't think Ryan Pace needs.
It's kind of like a wisdom. He's been around the league longer. He's been doing it longer.
But does
it's kind of a wisdom.
But does Ryan Pace need the wisdom?
Who doesn't want wisdom? I want wisdom.
I think you're overvaluing Bill Polian a little bit, especially with he's been out of the game for a while.
So he's an analyst. He does commentary. It's not like he's totally out of the game. He still has connections in the game. I'm sure he has people in front offices everywhere.
If the Bears had a dire need in player personnel selection, then maybe I'd be more inclined to have Bill Polian on, but they don't. So I'm not the biggest fan of.
I just don't see what is so bad that can come of it. You think Ryan Pace is going to resign because Bill Polian?
No, that's not what I'm getting at all. But that's another big name that Ryan Pace has to deal with, and that's another person that he needs to accept opinions from, and when he needs to understand that he is the guy in charge.
Accepting opinions doesn't mean he has to listen to everything he says and make decisions based on that. He makes the calls.
And you don't act like Bill Polian's not going to have a huge ego in there?
I don't think so.
After all the playoff runs that the Colts made and the one Super Bowl that they won?
I don't think he'd have a huge ego.
Yeah, I don't think that those two egos, where Ryan Pace is supposed to be the guy in charge and Bill Polian is the guy with all the experience, would mesh well.
All right. We're going to disagree on this one.
All right.
I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. I don't think it actually happens.
No, I don't think it happens either.
Yeah, no. But it'd be kind of cool.
But if the Bears don't make the playoffs one year, it's not going to be because, they didn't hire Bill Polian. I mean, it's just, I don't think it's going to work out.
I don't think it's going to happen. But it's good to discuss the possibility.
For sure.
And we all know that, Corey is wrong a lot. I mean, it just happens. I'm just kidding.
Move on.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so now we're going to move over to draft targets for the Bears. Other than the quarterback position, obviously, is the number one need. If you had to list needs 2 through 5, what would they be?
Positional-wise, probably a center field free safety.
Center field?
One that covers the middle of the field.
Yeah, I got you.
You don't make fun of me. Defensive back, though, is a big need. Cornerback, free safety. I think Adrian Amos can play a strong safety very well, but he doesn't make enough plays to where he can be a free safety, I think. And then the tackle positions, both right tackle and left tackle, need some serious help.
Sure.
Out at the wide receiver position, all you have is really Alshon.
Maybe.
Not much else. I think they'll re-sign Alshon, but if they don't, you definitely need wide receiver help. So, the defensive backfield, wide receiver, and both tackles would be the top
And
picks.
are you riding with Sitton and Long? Obviously, Kyle Long will be back, but Josh Sitton, you think he's still an adequate left guard?
Pro Football Focus has Josh Sitton as one of their top 10 ranked guards this year.
Yeah.
And nothing on tape has shown anything otherwise. That was a great signing that they were able to get from Green Bay. Green Bay usually doesn't make awful mistakes as an organization. Maybe they were getting rid of Josh Sitton a year or two early as opposed to a year or two late. He's going to wind down at some point because he's older, but they've got him for 2 more years. I think Josh Sitton is a very good left guard.
Sure. And Whitehair is going to play center.
Whitehair's a stud at center.
Yes, very good pick there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely a great pick. All right, we're going to move over to MLB. The Cubs made one move this past week. They signed Koji Uehara, however you pronounce this guy's name. He's 41. He's pitched on a couple teams. Probably everyone's seen him on Boston,
He's got 2 rings with Boston.
Yeah, 2 rings with Boston. So he's 41. He's pretty old. They bring him in 1 year, $6 million. And with the $6 million, he gets 8 tickets to and from Japan in business first class. I don't know why that's a thing.
Me neither.
I'm sure he has money to buy those.
Yeah, you
tickets
feel like you
with
can
that
afford it with $6 million, but...
Well, yeah, I think they bring him in kind of a 7th, 8th inning guy, not going to close games at all, probably. Got a lot of experience. Obviously, he's a veteran in postseason, so good signing. I think it's a smart move. Just another arm in that bullpen to bolster it. With the back end, probably going to be Rondon and Wade Davis. You got Strope back there still. Now you add Koji Uehara to the mix. I think it's a smart move for the Cubs, and it's real low profile, which I think what they need to be doing this offseason.
Agreed. They didn't need to make any big splashes this offseason, and they're doing what they need to do. They're bolstering the bullpen. You'd maybe like to see them go after the starting pitching market a little bit, but ultimately they're fine right now. The leadoff position is a little bit of a concern for me, but that's something I think that Joe Madden can figure out.
Speaking of Joe Madden, one thing I want to talk about real quick was the Chapman quotes that came out about him feeling that Joe Madden misused him in the playoffs, yada, 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 whatever. What'd you make of all that?
Joe Madden did misuse him in the playoffs. That's not the role that Aroldis Chapman is brought in here for. Aroldis Chapman was meant to close out games, not pitch 2-3 innings over the course of a couple games.
Even if we say he misused him, why do you have to come out and just say it after the
I don't
fact?
think it should have been an issue. I don't think he should have brought it up, but I think it's fact that Joe Madden did not use him properly. Ultimately, it didn't matter because the Cubs won the World Series.
Right.
But, if you're asking me to nitpick, yeah, Joe Madden didn't use him the right way.
My thought to this is, Chapman, keep your mouth closed. Your manager tells you to do something, you do it. It's the playoffs. What are you going to say? Nah, sorry, coach, can't do it today. What? I was triggered by the quote coming out this late. It's already almost January. Come on, dude.
It's almost like Aroldis Chapman's kind of a scumbag.
Oh my God, you would have rolled this Chapman.
He's a scumbag.
Okay.
We know this.
Sure, he's got a ring. It just kind of made me angry. I don't know. I don't want to get into all Aroldis Chapman's little stuff right here, but
Because I was going to say his girlfriend's probably got a nice ring around her eye right now.
Oh my God. Okay, moving on. White Sox were quiet this week. Nothing really to speak of here.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing after the week they had a couple weeks back, but Jose Quintana, David Robertson should all be on the move before the season starts, maybe more. And
I hope some more happens.
Yeah, it's exciting. It really is. They have a top 5 farm in all of baseball right now. Trading Jose Quintana for a couple bats makes you the number 1 farm system in baseball, so let's hope it happens.
All right, we just want to talk. One thing that came out today was the luxury tax numbers. So basically what the luxury tax is in baseball, there's actually no salary cap like you see in other sports, like the NFL, the NHL, the NBA. They all have salary cap. So in baseball, they just set a limit. I believe this year was $189 million for the luxury tax. So you have that much money to spend on your roster, and if you go over, you pay a fee. You pay a percentage depending on what your offense is. So
and for how long you've been committing it for.
So the Yankees have been paying the luxury tax every year since it's existed. So this is the 14th consecutive season that the New York Yankees are paying the luxury tax. They've paid over $400 million in luxury tax just in the past 14 years. So that's a lot of money. So a record 6 teams are paying luxury tax this year. The Dodgers pay $31.8 million. The New York Yankees at $27.4. Boston at $4.5. Detroit at $4 million. San Francisco's at $3.4, and the Cubs are at $2.96 million. It's their first offense for the Cubs, so they only pay 17%. So not horrible with a team that's got that much money. Basically, what this is for all the big market teams, so they have a point where they're like, all right, we can't spend any more money. They want to stop teams from putting together super teams like you see in the NBA.
It's supposed to be like a competitive balance thing,
Yes.
but even at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much. The teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers, they have money to pay for it.
Yeah.
They don't care. They'll pay the percentage or whatever it is. Boston and New York, they're not going broke anytime soon. I mean, it's meant to help certain teams, but ultimately the small market teams, you see the Kansas City.
You see teams like the small market, they get one chance, they get one run at it. Like
until their prospects, get themselves into free agency.
Like what's happened to the Royals right now.
Yeah. So ultimately, if you're in a big market, you're going to draw more free agents. That's how it is in Chicago, New York, L.A., San Francisco. Detroit is not the biggest market, but
but
Detroit signed it all for a run that was 10 years ago, and they've got a bunch of contracts for players going into their late 30s and 40s. So, yeah, that's just how it is right now. The big market draws players.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. All right, so we just want to talk about that a little bit, touch on that. I think that's all we got for you guys this week. That's it, right? You know what?
No, I'm good.
All right. So if you guys like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow. We appreciate you guys for watching, listening, whatever it may be. That's Corey. I'm still Joe. We are still Mom's Basement, or Mind Over Matter Sports, whatever you'd like to call us. We thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.
Okay, I don't hear them things that say about us. Thank you, mama, thank you, papa. All the things you taught us made us stronger. I just try to make you prouder. They sleep on me constantly, I wake them up. You think I was in a monogamy, cause I ain't never gave a fuck. Feel like how the hell we make it here? Every time the ball drive, I just tell my favorite, yeah. And I don't ever fumble, got the job to take it there. On a couple Lakers out in LA.